This week we talk about systemizing, getting out of debt, and singing. Hi, and welcome to episode 4 of Business Greenhouse TV. By now, I hope you're following along or following the bouncing ball of all the stuff that we're covering. I'm really enjoying doing it. So, bit of an update. We are finalising the details of next year's Kingdom Business Summit. That's our annual conference that we hold where we bring hundreds of entrepreneurs together and we train them for 2 whole days. And we have a whole bunch of fun. We roll up our sleeves and we grow your business. So next year, it'll be in March, is as much as I can tell you now, but I'm super excited for that. That's really coming along, and it's going to be our biggest and our best and our most involved conference that we've ever run. So it's our 5th year, and we're really starting to hit our strides with that. So episode 4, Michelle, what is our first question?
Jack O'Brien asks, how do you build a culture that embraces systemizing and streamlining a business?
First of all, Jack, g'day Jack, running a fantastic physio practice down there on the outskirts of Newcastle, a fantastic practitioner in what he does. So how do you do systemizing? Well, first and foremost, I think your question is, how do you have a culture of systemizing? Culture in any organization flows from the top, okay? So if it's not driven by you, if it's not exampled by you, it'll never happen, okay? So you've got to be the first one to be promoting this, the first one to be seen doing it, then you can expect it of everybody else in your organization, okay? It's very hard to expect others to do it if you won't do it, and culture in any area, in any business, flows from the top. It's a leadership. It flows down from the beginning. You can't expect it to flow upwards, and nobody else will own the culture more than you, which is why you have to instill it into them so that they do it. But how do you do it? Well, first and foremost, I reckon you've got to find the show pony. Find the show pony in your organization, okay? Who's the one that doesn't mind being in front of the camera? It's too hard if you've got to get somebody that absolutely hates it to do it. They'll do a really bad job, okay? So find the show pony and put them up and ask them to do it, and then hold them really accountable to consistently producing systems. Like, pay them to do an hour of where they're not working, but they're producing systems, okay? Invest in them, because it's your systems manual that's going to give you the time and the money to be able to leave the business and go have fun, okay? So I get it's a fully important area of business, okay? But I'd be getting the person that's more gifted and more natural to do it than I would be getting somebody that isn't. But you're going to have to start by doing it with them so that they get the fact that that's the culture in this organization, and then hold them accountable to producing 1, 2, 3 systems per week, every week for a year, and then you start to get a fantastic systemized business. But let me give you some hacks as to how to do it. I've referenced being in front of the camera. I reckon that 90% of the systems in your business should be done with video, okay? It's too hard to get a binder with a million bits of paper in it and read a system, step 1, step 2, step 3. It's too hard to put that into play, okay, and work out what that looks like, and work out, to picture it in their mind. They're likely to get it wrong between reading it and doing it, okay, because there's a massive disconnect. A much better way is film it via video and make them short. So 5-6 minutes of footage filmed. That way, it's easier to replicate a video than it is to replicate documented words on paper, okay? And the other reason why it's better is you can film it while the actual activity is being done, therefore less downtime. So all you do is you get somebody to do the task, you get somebody else to point a camera in their face and say, talk out loud what you're doing as I film it, okay? And they film it. And then you build a library of short videos that people can come into and they can access those. Now, some of them you still might want to use paper. I reckon 90% of your videos, your systems should be video, okay? And they're made accessible to the team. It'll be far easier to complete, far easier to do, and it's less restrictive on the business. Go with video in most cases. I like that. I'm a big fan of video. Michelle, question 2 for this episode.
From a private message, how do I get out of the burden of debt, and how do I create a healthy cash flow?
Okay, I love this question. How do you get out of debt? I think they go hand in hand. So I'm just going to deal with the debt one, because after that, you'll have more healthy cash flow. So I appreciate the question too, by the way, and sending it through privately because it's a little bit sensitive. I get that. And if you've got any of those sensitive questions, make sure you go onto the Business Greenhouse page, send us a message with your question, and we'll address it on the show. How do you get out of debt? Well, there's only two ways. There's actually only two ways to get out of debt. One is to increase your sales, and the second one is to cut some of your expenses. Like let's keep it. It's a mathematical equation, okay? It's maths, all right? So there's only one way to do it. Now, my preferred way to get out of debt is sell stuff, okay? I love to sell stuff. Let me give you an example. I have a book. I wrote a book, and it's a really, really, really good book. In fact, let me brag a little bit. There's 12 practical strategies for bigger profits and greater influence. And every chapter has a practical strategy, some action steps, and a story from the trenches. And you fill in the workbook, and it'll give you some sleeves rolled up strategies. And then you can go online and access a whole bunch of extra free stuff. And that comes with the book. And you can go to our website and buy that, and I recommend you do. Go to businessgreenhouse.com.au, go to the store, buy my book, okay? So if you take anything from this video, buy my book. That's how you get out of debt. You sell stuff to people, you make more money, and you put that money towards debt. Now, the strategy of how do you get out of debt, here's my way of doing it. Don't worry about the interest rate on any of your debts if you've got more than one. Start by paying the smallest one, not the one with the highest interest. Because remember, this is a behavior problem. It's not a mathematical equation in terms of which one gives me the most leverage. Do the one that's the smallest, okay? Because then what happens is once you've paid that off, you've got that payment spare, you add a little bit more to it, you pay off the second smallest one, then you've got even more money that you can put towards the third one, and that's how you tackle them, okay? Smallest to biggest, because it gives you a motivation. When you knock one off, excellent, now I want to do the next one. You knock the next one off, bang, I want to do the next one, and you'll get out of debt, okay? But you'll only do that if you have the spare cash flow because you sold stuff like buy my book. Word of the week. So I'm going to take you to Acts now. Acts 16:22. I'll read it to you, and then I want to give you my 2 cents worth. Acts 16 is Paul and Silas in prison, and it goes like this. The crowd joined the attack against Paul and Silas, and the magistrates ordered them to be stripped and beaten with rods. Okay, so this is not a particularly nice story. After they'd been severely flogged, that's not just flogged, that's severely flogged, they were thrown into prison, and the jailer was commanded to guard them carefully. When he received these orders, he put them into the inner cell. So not only did they go into the cell, they went into the hardest cell and fastened their feet in stocks. Okay, so this is a pretty serious crime, pretty serious punishment here. About midnight, this is a bit I want you to catch, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God. Have you ever felt like you're going through hell? Have you ever felt like there are trials and tribulations and it's just too much? Have you ever felt like things are going against you and it's too hard? Let me put it into perspective. Paul, Silas, flogged, severely flogged, beaten, put in jail, feet in stocks. And what do you see from these guys? Singing at that moment to God. So when we put that in perspective, if you're going through trials right now, what's your reaction? Is it to whinge? Is it to walk around like you've been sucking on lemons for a year? Does it look like it all over your face? Or do you turn that and do you make it singing? Do you praise God regardless? Let me tell you which one's going to free you to move on. It's not whinging. Singing and praising is going to liberate you. It's going to allow you to see it in perspective, and it's going to allow you to move on. That is my word of the week. That was episode 4. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.